Hello, 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 and welcome to a new episode of the Play&Talk Podcast. We have made it to episode 2, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody doing today? I am your host, King Cubics, and I will be talking about a new topic today as we speak. This is the next gameplay of Bioshock. I am currently heading towards Neptune Bay. That is not the right place. It is actually Neptune Bounty. And if I remember, I have to get the security access code. And that is what I am doing in this gameplay. So sit back and relax and enjoy some gameplay footage as I talk about the next topic for today. So, after a few days, I actually came up with a pretty good thing to talk about, and I am pretty excited to announce it. So, today's topic is 5 games that can ruin friendships. And I'm talking about board games, video games, like my top 5, in my opinion, that will have one person flipping the table, cussing a storm, raging, like super competitive, games like that. It took me not too long to think about my 5 top picks like already in hand, because there are these games. These games right here make you want to flip the table. And honestly, these 5 right here, we're going to do a countdown, and starting from 5 to 1, obviously. Again, it's going to be my opinion. So if you agree, go ahead, leave a comment. Think of what are other games that make you rage, or you just said, I'm not going to play. Stuff like that. So without further ado, these are the 5 games that can ruin friendships. So, number 5. Number 5, I chose Overcooked. I don't know if a lot of you guys ever played Overcooked before, but I played it a couple of times, and it's an alright game. The only problem with it is it can give people anxiety. That I know for sure. So what the game is basically about, it's a 4-player game. So you're like, let's say you're 4 cooks, you and your friends are working together to make sure that you serve good food, good customer service and all that. And like any other restaurant, your job is to make sure you cook the food properly, you make sure you put the right ingredients in, then you serve out the customer. It sounds easy, right? Well, I gotta tell you, you're wrong. Because while you're doing all that, you have to worry about obstacles. Sometimes the map will change on you. And then sometimes you might accidentally put the wrong thing, and you have to start over. And if you thought that was the end of it, no. You also have to wash dishes so you can have enough plates to serve. You have to serve the food, wait until they finish the food, and you have to wash the dishes. Rinse and repeat. Now, playing it with other people, that's where the challenge comes in. You need to have good communication skills in order for you to make it through this. Otherwise, you're going to have one bad time. I remember playing with a friend, and we winded up getting smacked around. As in, like, she would smack me around because I would do something wrong. And it's like, I'm trying my best. But yeah, Overcooked, you gotta have great communication skills. You gotta know exactly where to go, and you got to be quick about it, because I think you have 2 minutes to serve as much as you can. Got to make sure all the orders are right, and you have to make sure you try to get I think you have to get at least 3 gold stars if you want to, go for the gold. You gotta. It has this like ranking thing where you get gold stars, and depending on how well you do, it'll rate you 1, 2, or 3 stars. And most of the time, if you want to just clear the level, you just go for the 1 star. However, the game kind of prevents you from going from one place without collecting a certain amount of stars. So it kind of just forces you to go back and do better. So no matter how hard it is, you gotta master some of the maps in there in order for you to move on. But yeah, Overcooked, definitely on this list. Definitely number 5. Now then, let's go on to number 4. So number 4 is New Super Mario Brothers. You ever got so excited to play a new Mario game, but you wanted to play it with 4 other people, or I guess 3 other people, and you guys are off on an adventure? You're like, oh man, this is going to be great. 4 players? Oh yeah, this is going to be easy. Or so you thought. Not only are the obstacles a bit more challenging now, but it's not the enemies you got to worry about. You got to worry about the players. Like I said, teamwork makes the dream work, and without that, you guys aren't really getting anywhere. So to explain the mechanics of New Super Mario Brothers, you have to go from one side of the level to clear it to the next. But the problem is you can accidentally kill your own teammates by them trying to jump across somewhere, and you accidentally jump on their heads. You have the leader who's just zooming by the levels, not giving the players a chance to pick up through the camera. So usually whenever that happens, a bubble will appear, and they are kind of trapped in that bubble. And then there are some other obstacles where if it's like an auto scroll level, you have to try not to fall, or try not to all press like being trapped in a bubble at the same time. Otherwise, the level just ends. But those are one of the few mechanics in the game. You can also pick up your teamwork. You can also pick up your teammate. Gotta get the words right. Pick up your teammate, and you can toss them to get them across. But be careful, because you can sometimes throw them into a bottomless pit, which costs them to lose a life. Luckily, everybody has their own separate lives, which honestly, it makes the game slightly more tolerable, because if one person loses all their lives, then if there's like one person standing, then they can easily, if they're skilled enough, easily make it through the level. But that's also a lot of pressure too, because all it takes is one mistake, and then boom, back to the beginning of the level, or back to the first checkpoint. So New Super Mario Brothers is definitely on my list. Moving on to number 3. Number 3, Mario Party. Some of you guys knew this was coming. Mario Party, freaking dreadful. Actually, I take it back. Mario Party, super fun, very fun. It's fun to play with other people. I usually have a blast. But man, oh man, is it competitive when it comes to you trying to win. Because I had a friend, actually, he actually admitted it. He was like, you think I play games just to have fun? I'm trying to win. And that is exactly what Mario Party is. You definitely, it's every man for himself in certain situations. Even if the mini game does require teamwork, like the 2v2s and the 1 vs 3, it is every man for himself. For those of you who are new to the Mario Party series, you're basically playing like a board game with Mario characters. You each roll a dice, and then you land on certain spaces that triggers a minigame. All players go. And there's also like certain events that can happen if you land on a certain space. So the goal is you're mainly trying to collect the most stars. You're trying to stay in first place, but anybody can turn the tide at any given moment. Something always happens. There is no good outcome when it comes to Mario Party. Mario Party is strictly a competitive game that ruined a lot of friendships, and it can. I guess to say it doesn't really ruin friendships, but it does make people a lot of, flip the table. They can get angry, and then depending on what minigame that's out there, it can cost you to either catch up or you lose coins. Now, if you played Mario Party 1 and 2, the old school Mario Parties are probably one of the most competitive ones. I feel like there was no soul in those, because that's exactly how they wanted you to play the game. They're like, hey, we're going to pin you all against each other to see who wants to be the superstar. And honestly, if you want to take the pressure off, normally it's not about winning. It's about not being in last place. That's honestly all that matters. If you really think about it, anybody can win. But there's always one loser. That's what they show. That's what they do. They kind of made it seem like, being in first is cool. Being in second is alright. Being in third it's okay. But being in fourth, no, that's what makes you feel like the loser out of all of it. They make sure if you came in fourth place, you've lost for sure. But no matter how much of a competitive game Mario Party is, it's really fun. I still recommend playing it with friends. It's a lot of fun playing with other people. I mean, now the modern day ones, you can play it online. So playing online with friends is actually a lot more manageable. But you just can't beat the old, I got 4 controllers on the N64. 100% top notch. That is where it is. Alright, but that was number 3 on the list. Now we're going for number 2. Brace yourself for number 2. Number 2 is Uno. Yes, I know, Uno. And I can already hear everybody saying it now. Uno, why couldn't Uno be in the number 1 spot? And I will get right to that in a minute. But let's go ahead and talk about the card game of destroyers of families and friends. Man, where to even begin? The wild card, the skip, the +2, the wild card +4. That's all it takes to have somebody thrown at the table. And if you have that one Uno card, you better make sure you're known that you have that Uno card. Otherwise, people will call you out on it. I found out that the official people who made the game, you can't really stack cards when it comes to +2s. You can do it in the actual game version of it, because there's your own house rules. but in the actual rules itself in the Uno game, it's not an official thing, which it does kind of suck, because it adds on to the trauma for some people. Like, could you imagine having a +2 somebody and then they keep just stacking it and stacking it? No, but if you get somebody a +10, yeah, that'll ruin somebody's day. Now that's just the board game, or the card game version itself. Let me tell you about the game that you can play it all on. I think it's available on all consoles for sure. Consoles and mobile, PC, all that. The game, you can actually add those house rules. And you can there's also different types of Uno games. Like there is Uno Flip, honestly, one of my personal favorites. But man, it is hard. Like these cards that they came up with, it's like they try to make you. It's like they try to do it on purpose. They make it to where you want to like start crying, because Uno Flip, honestly, is one of those card games where you're going to be sitting there for a while, unless you decide to change those house rules. So let me give you an idea what Uno Flip is. You start it off. Some of the cards are different, and there is no backside. There are two different sides of cards. That's why it's called Uno Flip. There's a card that lets you flip it to the opposite, and then when you flip to that opposite, now it becomes even harder, because there are now +5s. There are now these one cards where you gotta keep drawing until you get the same color that is shown in the middle of the deck. Yeah, it's those cards. And then there's a skip all around to where you basically just go twice. And then somebody could even flip it back over, and boom, it's back to normal. But anybody can change the tide on that. I know the game has like a lot of different Uno games out there. I mean, some of them played, like the Rayman one's pretty fun. They have this dragon that absorbs all the cards and then like chews it up and spits it out and divides it to everybody. So if you had a lot of cards, that dragon will definitely like make it to where it's on even ground once again, and then the game continues. And then there's also Just Dance. That one's pretty fun. The Rabbit one, that one's also fun. You know, there's a lot of variety. They added a lot of DLC to Uno, which it's kind of funny, because I didn't think a lot of people were actually playing Uno. Turns out that they were. And I think this wasn't recent, but it was more of Uno's 50th anniversary. And that one is actually pretty cool. I actually got a set of the 50th anniversary, and it comes with, the stack of cards, and it comes with a coin flip, which means it's like, as it sounds, flip a coin, and if you guess that coin, then the other person has to draw. I think that's how it is. I think you draw 4. In the game, it makes you draw 4, but it looks really cool. It's like a great way to celebrate Uno's like 50th anniversary. I didn't think that game came out for so long. For 50 years of ruining people's lives. I mean, the game's fun, but like ruining people's lives in a way, but just having everybody just going against each other. I mean, it's a good time, but man, in a situation, it can be intense or stressful. But all in all, a good time. Okay, so I know I said 5 games, but I gotta add this one in there before I get to number 1. So, this one is a board game, and it's called Sorry. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with that game, but Sorry, I actually didn't fully read those rules. I know how to play the game, but it was one of those board games where like I knew how to play, but I didn't fully read the rules. And when you finally understand how that game works, somebody's going to be saying sorry quite a bit, because that game can actually ruin some people, and I didn't realize how badly somebody can be ruined. So you have 4 different colors, and you have 4 pieces for each color, and you're trying to have to make it all across the board while trying not to get land on other people's spaces. Yeah, so if you land on somebody's space, that means they have to start all the way over. Like, they have to go from, no matter how far they are, they have to go back from the beginning, that piece at least. Because, that's one of the rules of Sorry. It'll make you say sorry. And that's why the game is actually kind of mean. Like, I didn't realize how mean certain games are until you actually play them. And speaking of, okay, so look at me like coming up with different games now. There's another one that cause people to get mad. Connect 4. This is going to be a mini rant. Well, I guess not a rant, but it's going to be like a mini thing to talk about, because I'm like currently getting off track. But Connect 4, another game that a lot of people play, and it's 1 versus 1. You gotta connect the dots and connect the pieces. It's red and black, and there's like a lot of different ways you can change it to where you can have them 2 ways. You just gotta build it up into a certain way. And Connect 4 can be very challenging for those who are not paying attention. Somebody can easily get you in a 2-way, and once that happens, then you basically lost the game. Like, there's no coming back to it. And once they figured out that strategy, you've lost the game. Alright, but now that I got those other 2 extras out of the way, now we have the number 1 game that will ruin friendships, in my opinion. So, my number 1 is Monopoly. Monopoly. One more time. Monopoly. Monopoly is that one game where I absolutely despise. Like I just I can't play it with other people. Like, I don't like to play Monopoly. I have the worst luck when it comes to playing that game. Either I get bankrupt so easily, or I'm always landing on the jail space, or I am rolling snake eyes, or I roll the same number 3 times. And this isn't like the board game version. This is the PlayStation version. But honestly, it doesn't matter what version I'm playing. I still don't like Monopoly, regardless. There's so much that can happen in the game that it's one of those. There's the only chance of your hope is winning is if you pass go and you get some money, because you can be broke pretty quick. Like, you want to land on the best property, but you can't buy it because you need the money for it. And then when I play with friends, especially on my PlayStation, like they like to negotiate like crazy. Like they're just like, I want this, but you need to trade me with this, and you're just kind of like, well, that's a dumb deal. Like, why would I give you my property if you're going to give me this in return? Yeah, it's one of those games where it's like, I'll trade you for this, and if you land on the Broadway pieces, which I believe is dark blue, that's like the most expensive one. But landing on it and owning it, meaning somebody lands on that space, you're basically gonna bankrupt them pretty easily. But not just a Broadway. There's also the railroads, which if you manage to get all 4 railroads on a Monopoly board, that person basically won, because the railroads are on the most inconvenient spots, which is like in the middle on each side of the board, and landing on those, it's gonna chip your money, like maybe like slowly. But you also got to worry about other people landing on their property, and then you have to make it like past all that. Like, once that board starts filling up, no one's safe. No one isn't safe. I gotta tell you, like, I don't. Nah, that's a bit of an understatement. I simply don't like Monopoly. It's one of those games where people have it, and I'm just like, why do you have this game? But I know other people have their own opinions about Monopoly, and that's totally fine. I like, if you enjoy the game, kudos to you. It's just not it's those board games where I just don't like playing, which is exactly why it's on my number 1 top list, because I'm just bad at the game. Like, I have the worst luck when it comes to Monopoly. And I tried to play Monopoly with my friends on PlayStation, a couple times. But it got so bad to where I'm like, look, I'm about to bankrupt on purpose. And then I am deleting this game, because I'm straight up not having a good time. Because I wasn't. Like, it not just sucks to lose, but it's the fact that, hey, I'm broke. At this point, there's nothing you can do. If you're like low on cash and everything, and you're struggling to survive out there, yeah, I might as well just give somebody all the money and go bankrupt. Yeah, I already lost the game, so I might as well just do that. But yeah, that's my number 1. That is my number 1 game that ruins friendships, in my opinion. I'm sure there's a lot more others that other people like have, but those are one of mine. And it looks like we're getting close to the end of the gameplay. So in the meantime, I can go ahead and talk about what's gonna go on. So Sonic Frontier is coming out, and on the 8th of November, so that's a Tuesday, I believe. And I do plan on doing a blind playthrough of that. No, it won't be no commentary. It'll just be like mainly gameplay. It'll be blind, because like I said, I think in my first video that I'm not the best when it comes to like commentary over gameplay. I mean, I can do it, but I feel like I can do it better if I already understood the game more, and then replay it and play it for you guys, play it for those who's stuck somewhere. Because I like to record good gameplays with my videos. Like, they're kind of nice to like look at, like what I can do And then there's others who can casually just like talk on the mic. I am not speaking properly. If I can just speak, that would be nice. There are people that can talk casually on the mic and are easily just, hey, I can do this, and I could play at the same time. Plus, I like to enjoy the game. I want to enjoy it as much as I can without like talking. It helps me focus more. You know, the more I focus, the better the gameplay, the better the footage. Is how I see it. But yeah, Sonic Frontier, gonna be doing a blind playlist on that blind playthrough on that one, and I'll record in a couple of few gameplays, and then I'll let everybody else do the whole community. Now, there's another game that's coming out really soon, and that's Harvestella, which is a Switch game. I'm actually excited about playing that. So I'm gonna be playing 2 games. I won't be recording that one because that one's on the Switch. There are some games I want to record on the Switch, but that's a lot of like setting up to do, and I kind of want to wait to do all that because that requires to bring out my capture card. That's a lot more cords, and that's a lot of stuff I need. Like I gotta bring in my laptop and everything for recordings, and I don't want to do that. Not right now. I'll do it sometime in the future, maybe. So on my channel, you might see some Switch games, which I wouldn't mind recording. There's actually some I do want to play, unless they wind up porting the game to PlayStation. And if that happens, then it'll mainly be on that. But in the meantime, that's what's going on. I'm gonna be playing 2 games. I'm gonna be having a good time with them. So the next episode, it'll probably be a slight while, unless I have something to talk about, which I wouldn't mind sharing. So, because it looks like I'm getting really close to getting that access key, putting it in the slot, and then I'm moving on to Neptune's Bounty. So, to let you guys know, this has been a fun time doing another episode of Play and Talk. I have been your host, King Cubics. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So until then, everybody, you guys have a good day and check out the other videos. So until next time, I will catch you guys later. See ya.